Everyone. My name is Jason Yavorska, and I'm the product director for CI/CD here at GitLab. I want to record a quick demo of the new feature that we have to deploy automatically to AWS. I've got a couple things set up on my screen here, which I'll share. Okay, hopefully you're seeing this, and I've got, so this is the new feature, the auto deploy to ECS feature. All I've done so far is privately is set up these variables in my project here, which I can show you just that they're set. Let's see. Settings, CI/CD. Variables. Yeah, and so the only thing that I've done is set these three variables, which says that it's required. Then my ECS deployment will automatically be built. Reading the instructions, it actually does look like there's another step that's not mentioned there, which is this one, set the auto DevOps platform target to ECS. So let's do that. ECS doesn't need to be protected or masked. That's fine. Okay, cool. Normally you would associate these with environments, but I'm just going to be doing everything in master here. So let's see what's needed. So in your project, blah, 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 specify which AWS platform or target, give this variable ECS. Okay, so we're going to need to enable auto DevOps. So what I need is something that's just like a, hello or web server container, simple web server, maybe a simple web server container. Docker file. Let's see. Is there a Docker file? There does not seem to be a Docker file here. Well, worst case, we can make our own. Yeah, let's maybe just do that. There may be a little bit of iteration here live, which is okay, but I don't exactly have the Docker file syntax memorized. Maybe we've got a template here, actually. HTTP server. Hey, great. Let's add this file, and then we can add just like an index.html as well. So it's actually going to copy all of this stuff, I think, with the way that is set up, but that's okay. Let's add a file, call it index.html. Head, title, hello. Hello. Okay. Fine. Okay, well, that's about the simplest HTML that I can think of. All right, so we got all of our stuff here. Let's enable auto DevOps and see what this thing does. Default auto DevOps pipeline, continuous deployment to production, sure. Oh, this is cool, little notification here. That's relatively new, I think. All right, so it's doing stuff. We've got a Docker file, so it should be building that. I don't know what it's going to test, but it will try to do something. But pretty cool. Let's actually head over into the pipeline view where we can see more detail. I guess it figured out all of these things are not available, but it looks like production ECS is, so that's really cool. I'm excited to see what this is going to do. We can follow along with the things that are in progress here. I don't think we need this anymore. Don't need this. I'll keep the docs open just in case we run into any trouble. I've got my Amazon cluster manager over here on the other screen, actually on another computer, so I don't accidentally expose any credentials or anything like that. Because it's actually my own personal credit card, but we'll see what happens. I'm monitoring over there for the new hosts to be added. So far, nothing really going on. All right, looks like our container build is underway. Test is doing something. Okay, looks like it's now, it's running the copy. We've built it, and now we're pushing it to our container registry, and it succeeded, great. Okay, so now it's running all the other cool auto DevOps automatic stuff. The test failed, probably because there's nothing to actually test here. Hopefully that doesn't cause us to not be able to then deploy. But we'll see soon. Some lint has run. Some secret scan has run. So far, so good. Looks like we're even getting some reports out. This is a feature I've been excited about for a long time. Bringing auto DevOps and all this cool stuff over to more kinds of users. And if you can use this for ECS, and the plan is to add more AWS services as well as other non-Kubernetes GCS and Azure as well, it opens up this cool feature to a whole bunch of new areas. Let's see what code quality is doing, license scanning. Cool. A lot of the stuff is overkill for a a single static web page served by HTTPD, but most actual real world projects aren't that simple, and so it's not really optimized for something that tiny and fake. Yeah, still really interesting. It's cool that you get all this for free. Hopefully this doesn't cause us problems. I'm a little worried that it's not going to proceed to deployment because of the test that failed. But we'll see in a moment. In my other screen, I'm going to see if I can do a little bit of research to see if I can find like a simple example where we can have our own web server that will pass the testing feature. Okay, I did find a workaround. I can set a environment variable to be test_disabled, and it will skip this test or skip that job. So hopefully we don't run into that problem and have to do this all over again. But yeah, there is an issue to fix this always failing when there's just a simple Docker file in there that's happening. Actually, it's scheduled for delivery this month, but it doesn't look like it's been fixed yet. I reported it actually 7 months ago when I last tried to do an auto DevOps walkthrough. But let's see what it does. I guess in the meantime, I can go ahead and just go set that variable because it's not going to. At worst, it's just neutral. So variables, add variable, test disabled, true. Doesn't need to be protected, all environments. Okay. This is taking some time. Again, this is optimized for a much more normal project than just my tiny little toy example here. Okay, it did unfortunately fail because of this test. So let's go start another pipeline. And then this one should not have a test job in it, and it doesn't, thanks to adding that variable. And yeah, this will just take a few minutes again. In the meantime, is there anything else we can look at? We can look at some more of the documentation, I suppose. See if there's anything here. So in your project, go to variables, specify which AWS platform. Yep, I chose ECS, that's done. Our credentials are there. We can take a look at this doc and make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, I added my cluster, I added my, wait, no, I didn't add these. GitLab provide, I added the credentials, but I didn't add these. Okay. Let's go back real quick. Yeah, this link says AWS credentials, but it's actually talking about something slightly different here. It actually doesn't even mention the ones that the blog said that you needed to add. So I don't know if those are, well, they must actually be needed. So I don't, maybe they're just missing from the documentation or something. All right, well, I've set up ECS. I've set up a cluster. I have not set up an ECS service, test definition, or database, but I don't need a database. Well, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to do this in the other window, but I'll create a service. ECS Fargate, or EC2. Task definition. Family revision. So I'll just call it I'll just use the examples here. Definition, platform version, latest, cluster, test cluster, service name, my service. Family. Okay. Let's go ahead and start adding these while I am doing the other thing here. But wait, I don't have a GitLab CI YAML because I'm using auto DevOps. So how would I add these things? It doesn't make any sense. It says it would work if I was including, but then it said earlier that you shouldn't, it's not recommended to do that. Yeah, here it says it's not recommended you include it, but then this page says that you should include it. And if you did include it, then you could enter these variables. I don't know exactly what it wants me to do in this case. Let me maybe just add them here. That should also work. So, okay, cluster is going to be test cluster is what I named it. Doesn't need to be protected. Service name. The service that I made is my-service. Task definition, I called my task definition. My task definition, it's over on the ECS console, it's telling me my task definition does not contain any exposed ports. I think that's okay for now. Review. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just deploy it. Task definition is required. Okay, running into some trouble over on the Amazon side a little bit. Let me create a task definition. All right, apparently I needed to do that first. So the ECS console. Sorry, this is very boring to watch. Task definitions. Okay, create new task definition. I'll use Fargate. Task definition is my-task definition. Role is optional, network mode, blah, blah, blah. Task memory, I think 1/2 GB is fine, and then quarter CPU, this is just tiny. Hopefully Apache can start in 1/2 GB. It should, it's just a tiny little web server. Okay, let's create. Container list cannot be empty, all right. Add a container name. Did we? Okay, image. So I need to add the image. But, so if I go to the container registry, let's just copy this, that. All right, and create our task definition. Okay, we have a task definition now. And now let's go ahead and go back and create the cluster, or sorry, the service within the cluster. Create service, task definition. Okay, now I can choose my task definition, cluster, test cluster, service name. What did I name it? My dash service. Launch type Fargates. Next step. All right. Subnet, whatever. I don't care actually. All right. Do not do auto scaling, just in case I do something terrible. I don't want to get charged for any of this. Okay. So it's creating my service now. Let's see actually what's going on with this pipeline. Okay, it's actually on the deployment step, so I think that it's going to have beaten. Well, we'll see who finishes first, Amazon or this starting up this container. I'll go ahead and start another pipeline running in the background so that we don't have to wait for it, if just in case this one doesn't work. Let's go to pipelines. Oh, it failed. ECS update task definition error occurred. Service not found exception. I'm assuming that is because it just hadn't quite been created yet. So let's go double check our environment variables. And make sure that it matches what I see over here in the Amazon console. So the CI AWS ECS task definition is set to my-task-definition. It has :1 on Amazon, but I don't know if that's needed or not. I think that maybe it's just the version. Okay. It wasn't in the example, so I assume it's not needed. CI AWS ECS service, I called my service, and that is what it's called there. Then ECS cluster is called test cluster, and that is what I see in the ECS console. So hopefully this time around, there won't be the timing issue, and we'll get a deployment. The funny thing is that because I had to put in the container, the path to the container registry to into the Amazon console in order to create the task definition, it already automatically on its own went and fetched that container and deployed it. So I actually don't know. It seems like it's just going to be handling itself. So I don't know what the deployment is going to do on top of it. Maybe maybe I'll see. Maybe it will become clear once it finishes. And maybe maybe another way you could use this, it would be to like disable that auto fetching and then only run the deployment when you want. But yeah, we'll see. I'll see if I can find some way to actually reach this container. So no, clusters. All right, so test cluster, can I reach it? VPC subnets. Yeah, I don't know that off the top of my head the easiest way to find like the public facing IP. I'm much more familiar with the GCP stuff these days. I'm sure it's here somewhere obvious that I'm missing, but I'll keep looking in the meantime while our pipeline runs here. As best I can tell, everything is running. Yes. Hmm. Keeping an eye on this in the meantime. I'm just doing this while that's running, for lack of anything better to do. But what I'm trying to set up here with a public IP. Okay, so it's in the VPC settings, but I don't see that in services. VPC. I have a VPC service. My VPCs. Okay. I have two VPCs for some reason. Internet gateways. Internet gateways. I just want to find the public IP of this thing. It's not, they don't make it so easy. At least we're getting close on the production deploy here. And again, me figuring out all this ECS stuff is not really the point of the main thing, but maybe elastic IPs are what we want. Okay, I have a public IP address. How do I associate it with anything? I don't know. Associate elastic IP address with, yeah, I'm just gonna stop messing with this stuff. It's a little bit too much to learn live. We'll just release that IP address. Yeah, it's okay. We'll monitor this. This is the main point. And hopefully now that we've added all the right information here, it's going to work. Oh. The task definition does not support launch type Fargate. Well, that would have been helpful to know in the documentation. Okay. Maybe it was in the documentation. Does it specify that it only works with EC2? Not here. ECS, EC. No. Okay, maybe I can. Maybe I can recreate it. Create new revision. Change it to EC2. Okay. Compatibilities, EC2 Fargate requires compatibilities. All right, so I've changed it there to be EC2. Let's try rerunning this thing and see if it works now. Oh boy. All right, let's see if I can change things anywhere else. I'm just going to delete the cluster and remake it. But I'll call everything the same thing. Okay, cluster name. So we are going to change some of our values here. So we'll come back to CI/CD environment variables. The cluster name will be something different. Instead of cluster, I'll call it EC2 cluster, ECS cluster. Okay, that's getting created. I will delete my old task definition as well. Create new task definition. I'll choose EC2 this time. We'll call it my task definition 2. Okay. We will add the container again. So I need to go back over to package registry. Sorry, container registry. Copy this. Memory limit, we'll call it 100 megabytes. Is that enough to run HTTPD? Who knows? We'll get a different error at least. Okay. Container list cannot be empty. To be unable to add the container for some reason. This isn't problems on the Amazon side. Okay, there it is. Task definition is created. So now I need to go back to the cluster. And to the ECS cluster, I need to add the service, an EC2 service using my task definition 2. Service name is, I think I called it my service, but let's go check. My dash service. My dash service 2. Okay. All right. So now I have a cluster, ECS cluster with my task definition 2 on my service 2. So having updated these variables, I think I can go back here and retry this, and we will not have anything that talks about Fargate anymore. We really should update the documentation to say that Fargate is not compatible because from the Amazon perspective, Fargate is part of ECS. And it seems like we're not supporting that part. And let's see what this does this time. Come on, come on. I'd love to see this work. Hey, it's doing something. It worked. Awesome. Cool. So it looks like we got some JSON back with some of the details on the cluster. Hopefully no credentials in here. Message was unable to place tasks, no container instance, met all the requirements. Okay, that's probably just some configuration on my end, but it does look like this worked in the end. So cool. Nice to see a fully green pipeline here. Yeah, a couple hiccups, but overall not too bad. We can iterate and improve those things. So thanks for watching, and hopefully this helps show some of the new user experience with using this feature. Thanks.